G'day crew, Ross here, and today I'm in the kitchen. Well, we're going to do a bit of cooking. I'm going to make up some skewers for a barbecue today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some vegetarian skewers and I'm going to make some chicken skewers. And I've got two trays because we're going to keep them separate. And the first thing we're going to need is skewers. Now, if you want to find your skewers, they're not ever in the first drawer because that's where your cutlery is. They're going to be in the second drawer. Sometimes people put them in the third drawer, but they never put them in the fourth drawer because the fourth drawer is full of those tea towels your grandmother brought back from Queensland in '75, and they've been sitting there ever since. So if they're not in the second drawer and they're not in the third drawer, they're in aisle 27 of the supermarket. Go get some. Now I'm going to use standard bamboo skewers, and I've had them sitting here overnight in a tub of water, which I'll pour out there. Now, here we go. Bamboo, of course, is wood. Wood is flammable. So soaking them just means they're a little bit less flammable. So if we're putting them on the barbecue, they're less likely to burn. Doesn't mean they won't burn, they're just less likely to burn. All right, now I've got a few little tricks here. One of the things I learned when I was an apprentice chef is how difficult it was to make sure that everything cooks at the same time. In a kitchen, you've got your potatoes, your veggies, your meat, you've got different ways of bringing it all together so it's all hot, all cooked, all finished, all ready to go at the same time. On a skewer, everything's on the one stick. We've got pumpkin, hard. We've got mushrooms, take ages to cook. We've got capsicum, or bell pepper, you might know that, very easy to cook. So what we're going to do, we're going to cheat a little bit. What we're going to do is pre-cook some of this pumpkin for about probably 3 minutes in the microwave. It's pretty chunky. And I'm going to give the mushrooms about 60 seconds in the microwave. Now, the other thing about mushrooms is when you put a skewer through a raw mushroom, you're going to split it. And so if you give that 60 seconds, it'll soften it enough that a skewer goes through and the mushroom will stay intact. Let's give that a go. All right, so we've cheated a little bit here. We've got the mushrooms partially cooked. They've had about 90 minutes, or 90 minutes. They'd be very cooked, wouldn't they? They've had 90 seconds, and I've slightly overdone the pumpkin. That's had about 4.5 minutes. 3.5 would have been sufficient. Now, a couple of little tricks here. When you're putting your skewers together, obviously you're working your way down. You want to leave a little bit of a handle, not too much. Suggestion is to always do them exactly the same way. You don't have to. If you've got kids doing this, then you know what, let them be creative, have a bit of fun, get them involved, all right? But the reason I suggest the same way, and you can see here that skewer goes straight through that mushroom and it's intact. If you do it the same way, it means that your skewers are differentiated. So your chicken skewers and your vegetable skewers look different, they're going to be in different places, and you're not going to have people accidentally reaching for the wrong one. Also, obviously I have two trays, so I'm going to have one on each. Now, I like to put a piece of pineapple on mine. You may not. I've also got these cherry tomatoes that I've picked this morning straight from my garden. I've also got some zucchini, or you might know this as courgette, depends on which part of the world you come from. And I'm going to, rather than put it through there, which a lot of people do, I'm going to put it that way. And that way it's going to sit a little bit better when it cooks, like that. There you go. I'll finish it off with one of those. Now, I'm going to do that again. And I'm simply going to repeat the same pattern without sticking a skewer through my finger. There we go, bell peppers or capsicums. I've got a bit of onion. I can put 2 pieces of onion on, that's all right. Now, capsicum and onion, cook at about the same rate. Now, mushroom is partially cooked, so hopefully it'll only take a few minutes to cook through. A pumpkin just needs heating, really. There we go. Another piece of capsicum. And again, and I like the red and yellow capsicums. That's a personal choice. Some people like the green. I think the red and yellow are a little bit sweeter. I'm not into sugar, but I don't mind the crispiness and the sweetness of those. Now, there we go. That's the zucchini on the end. Oops. Move it all down a little bit. Top it off with a piece of capsicum. And now, I'm just going to rinse and repeat. We'll fast forward this bit. Now, I've realised, of course, that as I've done that, you haven't actually seen what I'm making. So I've had it up here. There we go. Alrighty, this time I'll put the tray right here so you can see the finished product. I'm going to do chicken this time. So again, I like something down the bottom. bit of capsicum to say, well, that's the start of it. And again, I'm going to do a bit of pumpkin on that. What else we'll put on there? I think we'll put in this piece of onion and a big piece of chicken, which you can thread on there. We'll put probably 2 bits of chicken on each one. And again, I'm going to go for a tomato. I'm going to put mushroom on until at least I've used them up. Put another piece of chicken. And you can put a chicken on and then fold it over and actually thread it that way. There we are. I'm also going to put on a piece of pineapple. Pineapple and chicken goes well together. Of course, when you're making these, you put in whatever you want. You can have different meats, and as far as the vegetarian vegan stuff, you can also have lots of different things on them. Really, whatever floats your boat. The main thing is to pay attention to the hardness. And if you've got something super hard like the pumpkin that's going to take longer to cook, you need to think about doing a little bit of pre-cooking. Otherwise, the pumpkin is still going to be raw when everything else is cooked, or it's only going to be half cooked. Or it's cooked and everything else is burnt, which is still not a good outcome. Right, there we go. We have some more mushrooms still. Another bit of chicken. Now at this point we start to run out of ingredients, and that's okay. We've got no mushrooms left, but that's all right. There'll be people who don't like mushrooms. So we just won't bother putting any more on. I'm not going to cut up another onion just for a couple more skewers. So it'll probably end up with more chicken, which will favour those who want more meat. All right guys, and there's the finished product. A couple of trays of pretty nice looking skewers. Now the takeaways are, first thing, soak your skewers. It will help prevent burning. If you cook these on the open griddle, it might be an idea to just put the handle on the flat part of the grill where there's no open flame, and that way at least this won't burn away. You can also cook them in a saucepan or brown them off and then put them in the oven to finish cooking. When you're making these, do your vegetables first and then do your meat skewers second, and that way there's no cross-contamination on the chopping board or on the bench. Also maybe cook them separately. Cook your vegetables first and your meat second, and if anyone is a vegetarian or vegan, then they should hopefully be pretty happy with that. Mix it up, put it whatever you want on. This is very yellow and red. That's because I had yellow zucchinis. You can get green zucchinis, and you can get other things to put on there. I like a piece of fruit. You may not. Really, you can do whatever you want. And now it's time to do a bit of cooking. So on the right-hand side, that's the flat grill, and I'm putting out all of the vegetarian skewers, and on the left-hand side, that is the grill that's over the flame, what I call the griddle, and that has raw flame underneath it. And you might notice that the skewers are actually off to one side, so they've got less chance of burning. They will still burn because that is direct flame underneath, however, it won't be too bad. Give them a bit of a turn, a little bit of oil, good quality olive oil on those, and give them a couple of turns. They're going to tend to stick if you're not careful. And really, you've got about 5 or 6 minutes. What you didn't see is me close the roof of the barbecue for a couple of minutes, and that just helps them cook like in an oven. Take them off, and at this point in time, we're pretty much ready to go. All right guys, and there we go. On the vegetable skewers, I put the halloumi cheese. I forgot about that. All done. Just remember, soak your skewers, do the veggies first and then the meat so there's no cross-contamination. When you cook, do them on separate parts of the grill. As always, going to be a bit of charcoal. That adds a bit of flavour. As always, thanks for your time. Hopefully that's a good tip for you. And on today, the 26th of January, happy Australia Day. See you next time.